Okay, guys. If you're watching this right now, you can see that we're out of uniform.
Just a little.
It's really interesting, Alex, that we're having a conversation today about balancing a 9 to 5 with a side hustle because this morning I just quit my job. And I am actually terrified and I'm kind of freaking out about it. Welcome to Untitled,
A podcast and educational brand where the nostalgia of higher education meets the sharp edge of a corporate boardroom.
I'm Sophie.
And I'm Alex.
And together we deliver no BS insights for ambitious freelancers, corporate climbers, multi-hyphenates, and business owners.
By challenging the limits of a single title, we're here to empower you to redefine success.
And make your work work for you.
Class is in session.
Fortunately, I guess, Alex and I have been working very closely over the last 6 months, and she has really seen how my full-time role and just like the way that I've been living my life has just...
It's just a little bit unacceptable.
It has been deteriorating me from the inside out. And I guess I kind of just want to open this episode up by talking about how important it is to be really intentionally taking care of yourself in anything that you do. And I am the type of person who feels like I have the capacity for anything I want to achieve, which is great in some ways. And I remember like 3 months ago, Alex and I were in the car driving home from filming a podcast episode. And she looks at me and she's like, Sophie, you know, it's not possible to like do everything that you're doing right now successfully. And in my brain, I didn't even respond to her in this instance. And in my brain, I was like, what the fuck is she talking about? Like, yes, I absolutely can. And before I even opened my mouth, she literally said, what did you say? You were like, yeah, I know your brain just said that you...
Yeah, I know your internal monologue just said, yes, I can. Like, she's wrong.
And it did.
Yeah.
And on a more serious note, I've been working so much trying to balance my marketing agency, trying to balance my 9 to 5, and also this like new amazing business and podcast with Alex that I have completely neglected taking care of myself. And like, this has been really serious. It's been like, Alex and I had a conversation 2 days ago where she was like, I don't even know if we can launch this anymore because of how badly I wasn't taking care of myself. And that conversation scared me so much because this podcast, my relationship with Alex, my relationship to my business, and even the way that I'm showing up in my full-time role, I value, I care about. And by putting all of this focus on work, I've completely neglected the way that I've taken care of myself in so many ways. I mean, you guys, like I'm on my computer for 15 hours a day. I'm not eating. It's gotten to a point where I literally am not able to get myself to go to the grocery store. And not only that, I'm not even able to order groceries, which is ridiculous. But it's like this functioning depression that I've been in. And I come online and I'm very happy, which I am happy. And I didn't realize that depression in a way.
You can have both.
Yeah. I'm not fucking sad. I'm like just so overwhelmed. And so I quit my job and, I mean, I just had to make a choice. Like either my marketing agency is gone, Untitled is gone, or I stop working for someone else's fucking business and I get to work on my own. And I'm fortunately in a comfortable position to be able to do that with my business, but I do need to make it better. Maybe this summer I'm not going to fucking travel Europe all summer, but I'm going to be growing something that's really meaningful and impactful to me. And I'm going to be really taking care of myself in the process. And I just want to thank you, Alex, for encouraging me.
I'm so proud of you. And like when we had the conversation and I told you like I'm really concerned, I love Untitled. I love what we've done here and we've both put so much energy and effort into it. And do I want to not be able to do it? No. But I do love you enough to know that if you continued down this path, we couldn't make it like what we want.
Correct.
We couldn't kill it with this.
Correct.
So we're in a new era.
And that
era is partially unemployed.
No, it's fucking self-employed.
You know, not to toot my own horn, but, you know, I've been self-employed for like almost half a decade now. So if you need any tips, you can come. Just kidding. You can like learn what not to do from me based off all the mistakes I've made personally.
But we're all learning together here.
And that's what we're talking about today, actually.
Yeah. Balancing a full-time role with a side hustle.
Here we go. Even though this is just such an organic conversation, and I mean, our research has been our lives for this topic.
Correct.
We did prep some lessons because
obviously we're always giving you guys lessons
here. So lesson number 1 is setting expectations is the first step to balancing a side hustle and a full-time role.
I can really speak a lot to this because I have been balancing a full-time role while running my own business for the last 4 years. And obviously it's gotten to the point where like I literally cannot do it anymore.
Yeah.
I had this strategy that I was going to scale my company, hire to scale my company while I'm still in this corporate environment, learning from people in the corporate world, because there is some value. Sometimes there was no fucking value in my job anymore, like now that I've left. But I saw the value of me growing in a really reputable agency, and I wanted, and I did, like I started to hire to scale. Even when I first started my business, I had such an incredible team when I first started who no longer work with me now, but like that was my strategy and I saw it working. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is once your side hustle becomes a hell of a lot more than a side hustle. I mean, I've been making more money from my side hustle than my full-time role for the last 3 years, and I still haven't left my full-time role. Like, hello.
Yeah.
Once it gets to that point, you have to make a choice.
If you want to.
If you want to. But you also have to measure the cost. For me, the cost was my fucking sanity. The cost was like, I realized that if I continue doing all of this work with my side hustle, with my full-time job, with everything that I'm doing, like it's not even a side hustle anymore, it's a full business, whatever. I'm just saying it's a side hustle for this episode. But I realized that the cost of if I continue to do all of this stuff, it's counterproductive. Everything will deteriorate. If I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not even going to show up in my corporate role good. All of my client accounts will suffer. Like, you have to measure the cost.
Setting expectations around what you want this potential additional revenue stream or income stream to be for you is really, really important. When you started Tribe, did you want it to be like your full time?
I didn't even know what I wanted it to be. I just like it all, like I said, it was like kind of like an accident and I didn't know what it was. I just knew that, wow, like this is starting to be something. And I didn't know.
Okay, so when you started Tribe, you weren't like, I'm like quitting my job in 2 years, or like that wasn't in your mind?
My first job out of college, I was working at an agency making like $40,000 a year. And that's also when I transitioned from freelancing to really starting Tribe. And I actually did quit my job to pursue my agency full time. And then like 2 weeks after I quit, or actually, no, it was like 2 weeks before I left. I gave them like a month notice, I think. I don't even know. I had a random opportunity from a huge agency come to me and say, we want you for this role that was like 2 levels above, like way more money than I was making at that agency. And I was like, I can't take this, so I'm just going to do both.
Yeah.
But the difference was, and this might be a tangent, I had a partner that was taking care of my every move and taking care of me in so many ways and was like so amazing to me. And now I don't have that partner. He's absolutely incredible, nothing but respect to him. But I'm like learning how to take care of myself as an adult. I know that sounds like crazy to say, but he was doing everything that I didn't even need to focus on so that I could be working so much, like making my food, doing the dishes, like all those little things. Like you have no idea, guys, how much that adds up to somebody who's like working so much. And now I'm in this position where like, it's another reason, like I'm not taking care of myself because I haven't learned how to in 5 years.
This is an opportunity for you to grow in those ways.
Right. So, but to answer your question, I never had a clear picture And I wish I did.
I think that it can just be really helpful, especially every single person has different goals. Like some people want to climb the ladder and also just have an additional income stream. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is how to balance those things, but also later in the episode, we're going to talk about if you do want to make that side hustle your full-time job, like you want to go all in, like some of the discomfort around that and how you can really overcome it.
Lesson 2 is that you need systems and strategies to successfully manage this kind of double life. I like this one a lot. I'm a Virgo. I love a system. I'm failing at this right now. I don't even think I'm the right person to talk to about this. I heavily agree with this, but because of how overwhelmed I've gotten over the last 6 months, my systems and strategies have completely fallen out the door. And I think Alex is really great at this, and she can honestly help teach me a little bit, because now I'm moving into an era of self-employment and I need to figure out my systems and strategies better.
Well, I think this this is so related to the episode that we did on time. Because remember when we did that episode, we were talking about how when you're prioritizing like things as they're coming in, you're on fire. You can't possibly prioritize something that is deeper in like your foundation of what you need.
Yeah.
So like systems, that just makes so much sense. I mean, I'll say like I would love to have better systems. I think that you can always keep improving your systems and your operations, but I think that it is really important to have systems to regulate, especially when you are operating within multiple roles, like having a full-time job and having an additional stream of income that requires you to manage it.
Yeah.
I think you do have to set ceilings for those things. This is about managing expectations as well. Like set a ceiling based on your goals. If you have a side hustle and you're like, I am keeping my 9 to 5, I want to climb the ladder, then don't take on so much in your side hustle that you're lacking in your full-time role.
Right.
You've got to set that ceiling. And so I think when you're managing multiple things like that, you have to take ownership of that.
Yeah, I completely agree. My goal has been to now really grow Tribe, which I didn't have that as like a main goal. I thought I did want to go corporate. And so I got stuck in this middle questioning myself. I don't know what I want to do.
Yeah. But I think also you're still figuring it out. And I said something to Sophie yesterday. I said, just because you're leaving this role doesn't mean you're leaving corporate. And that goal of, you know, being really, really powerful in a corporate setting is just all of a sudden gone. Actually, you quitting still gets you towards that goal. Because where you were wasn't going to serve you in that goal
Not
either.
at all. No,
you know?
Right.
Yeah.
If I stayed where I am right now, you guys would see the last of me. We'd be out of here.
Yeah.
I would not be okay.
Yeah. So I think the decision that you made is going to help you in both ways.
Yeah.
If in 3 months you're like, you know what? I have a really solid team in place that's running my agency and I trust them and I'm still at the core of things, but they can manage this.
Then I can be like,
then you can go get a corporate role that feels really good to you.
Right. Yeah. That's such a good point. I don't see myself getting a corporate role in like the near future, but like I'm not completely Xing that, you know, out of my future plans.
I could go get one tomorrow.
Right.
We are humans. You get to decide when you want to do what.
Right.
And if you want to be in a corporate role and you've had your own business for 10 years, go get a corporate job. Do it. If you want to leave corporate and have your own business, you want to open a bakery, go do it. You know, I think set a goal and then work towards the goal. I think another really like hot topic is being able to protect your professional integrity when you are balancing multiple things. And for someone like you, even your maybe like base level of performance is still maybe somebody else's really high level of performance. So I think it's a little bit harder to spot like, oh, the integrity of my work has suffered because I'm taking on too much or my plate is too full. But I think it's really important to have that awareness of when that starts to happen, when you start to miss things, and when you're maybe not showing up to the max that you would want to show up for things. And I think a lot of people are experiencing this. I think it's an uncomfortable topic, but I think people are experiencing this all the time. So did you ever, in the process of having your agency and also being in a 9-to-5, what is like a core memory or moment where you compromised your professional integrity?
I'm going to think about this.
Because I want people to be able to spot it.
I realized that my boss at the time, when I knew this was starting to get really bad, messaged me and said, you have to let me know when you leave your computer for more than 15 minutes. Just let me know. Because I had been taking client calls in the middle of my workday. And I was usually taking all client calls during lunch. And there was a week where I was getting like a lot of discovery calls. And so these are like 15 to 20 minute calls. And I was like, I have to take them. Like these are potential like new really good clients. So I would book my calendar out and I was taking like 15 to 20 minute discovery calls during my workday. And so I was slow to respond. And that kind of crept in and I ended up like signing on another client and I was like trying to balance both at the same time, but I wasn't responding to my boss within like 5 minutes, which is kind of insane to think that, but it's okay, whatever.
I mean, I think it's good to mention like you were in an agency environment as well.
Right. And I felt that they could feel that something was off with my just like level of work that they're used to. And my boss put together a quote unquote elevation plan for me.
No.
And I was like, is this a PIP? Is this a performance improvement plan? Like, and she's like, not at all. I just want you to get promoted. And so these are the areas I want you to work on. And like, whatever. And I honestly think it wasn't for me to get promoted, babe. It was because she noticed that my professional integrity was decreasing a little bit.
Yeah.
And guess what? It was. And I didn't really care, which I regret, because in my brain, my business and my clients are so much more high priority than somebody else's agency that they're paying me dirt money to do anyway. And I wanted to prioritize my own clients. And do I regret not keeping the level of professional integrity that I should have? Actually, yes. Yes, I do. Because your team deserves, like if you are choosing to work in a corporate environment, you need to show up and you need to, like you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're doing a disservice to your reputation. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And had I continued on this path that I'm in, I would have really ruined my reputation at the company that I was working for if I didn't decide to quit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, and I think like an element of it is like resentment builds, you know? And if you're in your mind, you're like, I'm scaling my agency and this is my goal and whatever, even though you chose into the corporate role that you're in, resentment builds because you're like, oh, well, I can't take these discovery calls because I have this role. Yeah. And I can't do X because I have this role. And so I think it's just important to notice when your mindset starts to shift around things, because then I think you get really clear on, oh, wait, maybe that wasn't my goal. Maybe this was my goal. You know, so it's definitely an energy thing. Okay, lesson number 3, you can't scale your side hustle if you're always saying yes to your 9-to-5 like it's your forever plan. And you can't keep resenting your 9-to-5 if you're not setting limits either. That perfectly ties into what I was just saying about resentment. We've already kind of talked about how scaling a side hustle or an additional income stream without intention is going to screw you up. You just simply can't do it. If you don't define where the ceiling is, you are going to experience so much discomfort in balancing those two things. And there's no right or wrong way. Make your choice. Someone that I love very much and am very close to works a 9-to-5, has a full-time job, and they really like their full-time job. And they also have their own business and very entrepreneurial, very self-motivated, self-starter. And when they got this 9-to-5, they were coming off kind of like a rough spot in having their own business. And they set very clear expectations in getting a full-time role. They didn't want something that was super heavy responsibility-wise. They wanted to be on a good team. They had their wish list. And they're in this 9-to-5, they're in this role, and about a year into it, they are going to get promoted. And because their goals were different, most people that are in a 9-to-5, maybe they want to get that promotion. Maybe they want to make more money. Specifically for this person, they knew that that's not what they wanted. That was not their end game. Their end game wasn't to promote within the company, get paid more money. Their goal is to scale their business. So they decline the promotion.
Fire.
They decline the raise. And I'm just using this as an example because I think when you get approached in a role and they're like, here's more money and here's more responsibility, people are like, yes. Like it's almost like an instantaneous
This is such a good example.
reaction.
Yeah.
And I think if you have a side hustle that you want to make your main priority, rethink it a little bit. You know, when somebody comes to you and they're like, here's more responsibility and here's more money, think, oh, but like, can I make more money in what I'm doing? Because that's what I want to do, before saying yes. And I think that really means sometimes saying no to things that would look really good on paper.
Oof. Yeah.
A promotion looks great on paper. A raise looks great on paper, you know, when you're trying to rent an apartment. Like those things look really good on paper, but do they look really good to you?
Yeah. And do they align with where you see yourself going in the future?
Yeah.
Because if you're just going to say yes to your 9-to-5, this promotion here, and you want to keep growing, your capacity for your side hustle will change and you will not be able to devote time to it. And you will end up in a situation like myself where you completely just abandon your health.
Yeah. You have to protect the version of your life that you're trying to build.
Yeah.
Like to the death. We got to be more cutthroat about protecting our dream life.
That Ski Mask Slump God song. Cutthroat, cutthroat, cutthroat.
Nope. No.
You know?
No.
I played it for you in the car the other day.
This is why you can play anything, because I am just not there.
Nuketown. Look it
Okay.
up. Cutthroat.
Okay, lesson 4.
Okay. Oh, this is a good one. This is a great one. Choosing when to leave, if you want to leave, is about timing, strategy, and self-awareness. So, I am doing everything everyone tells you not to do. Do I have 3 months of savings? No.
It's 6 months, but
3 to 6 months is actually what it is. No, I don't. I have not enough.
but you know what? We're going to talk about why that's okay.
Okay.
That's what we're going to talk about, because I said this to Sophie last night when she's in panic mode about, you know, she's asking ChatGPT what she needs to quit her job.
I did make a full document outlining all of my income.
She's like, ChatGPT, can I quit my
I quit my job again.
And, you know, I'm like, okay, I think you also need to consider that you didn't tell ChatGPT what your goals were. You know, AI is all about the prompt. It's all about the information. She's not giving it anything.
I'm
She's
not
just
even
saying,
thinking.
give me an answer.
Yeah.
No,
Sir.
it's not how it works. standard advice is like 3 to 6 months, like Sophie said, of living expenses and an emergency fund. Like, that looks great. That sounds awesome. But I think if you're in a situation where you cannot create that fund, and you know that if you leave, you could have that fund in 2 months, we need to like consider all of the pieces of it.
I think also like I have been making a substantial amount of money through my business where like I can support myself.
Correct.
I don't want anyone who like is listening to this and they're like do not have enough money to support themselves at all to just quit their job and be like, okay, I'm good. Like I am in a unique situation where like I have been able to quit my job. I just was nervous about the security behind it. And like, yeah, the extra several $1,000s a month, it doesn't hurt me.
But also the extra several $1,000s a month prevents you from making double, triple that.
Exactly.
You know?
That is literally the point.
Yeah. So I think that's really important to weigh that. And if your 9 to 5 is capping or draining your capacity in a way that you know that if you got rid of it, you could easily have that 6 months of expenses. You could easily support yourself in a comfortable way. I think sometimes you need to bet on yourself.
Mm-hmm. It's risky.
Yeah. And I also think we're putting so much trust in these organizations, in these companies. One thing that was really uncomfortable for me when I quit my full-time role, when I became 100% self-employed, was the idea that there was no safety net. I was like, oh, yeah, having this job is a safety net.
Yeah.
I think we need to understand, and I was saying this to someone today, you are your safety net. If you feel like a company is more trustworthy than you are,
we got some work to
do. Like, you can create so much for yourself as your own safety net. If you think that you can't create more than a company can create for you, we gotta
get that together, baby.
We gotta get it together.
Yeah, I mean,
how does it feel to be your own safety net?
I feel fucking great.
Do you feel empowered?
I don't know if empowered is the word.
Okay.
I just feel like I am a little bit anxious, but I know that like I can do it.
Yeah, this is a big change.
Yeah.
And it also feels like so much pressure. Like,
was this a manic decision?
No, it wasn't. 100%.
I'm starting to like really, I always ask Alex, like,
Sophie thinks she's manic, and I try to tell her every time that people that are manic don't think they're manic. Like, I'm not sure why she's not understanding this.
I will literally be like trying to like diagnose myself with all of these like mental health issues when in reality I just need to like work out maybe. Gary Vee said this thing. Gary Vee can be like this or that, but he said this thing.
We're posting this with that, and Gary Vee can be this or that. He's a little questionable.
Yeah, I mean, he's like in your face, kind of like me. But he said something in one of his podcasts that I've listened to multiple times. Like it's like a 15-minute long podcast, and I listen to it all the time. I don't even know what it is called. Sorry. Like advice for your 20s or something, like advice for people who are right about to graduate college. And there was one part in it that he said, if you are like in your early 20s or like even your mid 20s, you need to like take the biggest risks ever, because you can literally fuck up your life for the next 10 years and still be young as fuck. Young as fuck. Like you can literally create a whole other career. When I'm 26 right now, and I'm 36, that's still young.
Yeah.
Like I could work so hard on my business, put everything into it, fail, and guess what? I'll learn so much.
Yeah.
And then I'll be 36 and I could go get my little booty and start again, whatever. Yeah. I don't even know. So like that is also pretty empowering, because I think that when you're a really high performer at this age, or you have like really big goals at this age, you can feel like you're old. You can feel like there's not a lot of time. There's so much time. Like this is the time if you are you know, especially if you're like under 30 years old, this is the time to take the biggest risks possible, because you can fuck up your life for however many years, like 5 to 10 years, putting all of your effort into something. And if you fail, you're still so young.
Yeah, you still gained something in failing.
And you gained so much. By the time you guys are listening to this episode, hopefully I'm in a way better spot mentally and physically. We're filming this right now in April. This podcast is probably going to be released either in June or July. And you'll be able to tell probably by what I'm posting on social media if I'm okay. If I'm in my depression hoodie every video, which is this hoodie, by the way, we're probably still working on it. But I'm sure by the time this podcast is released, I'm fucking thriving. And I love you.
I think you really will be. I think you really will be. I'm ready for this like unlocked version. It's like the level up, you know? Balancing a 9-to-5 and a side hustle takes more than just ambition. It takes strategy, capacity tracking, boundary setting, and knowing when to let go of a path that doesn't fit anymore.
So we made you a free homework packet to help you get clear. It is linked in the show notes, and it includes a quiz to check your balance, a goal-setting prompt, and a few put it into practice challenges.
We also dropped in some extra credit if you've been circling a big decision, stay or go, scale or not. This will help you map the risk and move with intention.
This episode wasn't about quitting or pushing through, even though I did quit my job. It was about getting brutally clear. What are you building? What are you preserving? And what are you saying yes to that no longer serves you?
Next week's episode is for the high achievers who secretly want the gold star. We're calling it Teacher's Pet, and it's all about how to make your boss love you and keep clients coming back.
If you found value in today's episode, we would love it if you left us a comment or sent us a message letting us know.